My dear listeners, this is an original sci-fi story I wrote for you. If you'd like to support me, just subscribe to the channel. It really helps the growth. Dr. Nadia Torrance stood outside the quarantine perimeter and studied the school through biohazard scanners. Riverside Academy, a boarding school for predator species cubs. 200 children aged 5 to 13, locked inside with a bioweapon eating them alive. Pathogen is variant 7, the military virologist briefed. Engineered specifically for creche, Varden, SCAR, and Drakai biology. 100% fatal within 72 hours of exposure. The building was contaminated 48 hours ago. Nadia did the math. 24 hours left. Transmission method? Airborne initially, now bloodborne. The school's ventilation system spread it everywhere. Every child inside is infected. What about treatment? The virologist's expression told her everything. We're working on it. The pathogen is complex. It'll take weeks to develop a viable cure, maybe months. The cubs have 24 hours. I know. The virologist looked away. Command has ordered hard containment. Nobody in or out. When the deadline passes, we sterilize the entire structure. With 200 children inside. They're already dead, Dr. Torrance. The kindest thing we can do is make it quick. Nadia looked at the school. Through the windows, she could see small shapes moving. Cubs who didn't understand why the adults had abandoned them. Who were getting sicker by the hour, their bodies betraying them. I'm going in. The military cordon commander stepped forward. Absolutely not. That's a hot zone. Anyone who enters will be infected within minutes. I know. But I'm a virologist who specializes in rapid pathogen analysis. If there's any chance of synthesizing a treatment before the deadline, I need access to live samples, progression data, and the school's lab equipment. You'll die in there. Variant 7 takes 2 weeks to kill humans. I have 14 days. The cubs have 1. That's enough time to work. Dr. Torrance, even if you develop a treatment, you'll be too infected to leave. We can't extract you. I know. Nadia started suiting up, not in protective gear. That was pointless now. Just basic clothes and a medical kit. But maybe I can save them before I die. The school's interior was a nightmare. Cubs lay in hallways, too weak to move. Their carapaces were cracked and bleeding. Venom dripped from Varden fangs uncontrollably. SCAR siblings huddled together. Their breathing labored. They were dying. All of them. A creche teacher, barely clinging to consciousness, found Nadia first. You came. Why would you come? You'll die too. I'm here to help. Where's the science lab? 3rd floor. But there's no cure. We tried. We have teachers with medical training. They're already... She gestured weakly at bodies in the corner. Dead. The adults had gone first, their larger bodies processing the pathogen faster. Nadia climbed to the 3rd floor, her breathing already labored. She was infected. She could feel it starting, a tightness in her chest. The pathogen worked fast even in humans. The lab was basic but functional. Microscopes, centrifuges, chemical synthesis equipment. Enough to work with if she was smart. Nadia collected blood samples from cubs at different infection stages. Slid them under the microscope. The pathogen was elegant in its lethality. It attacked respiratory cells specifically, causing hemorrhaging and suffocation. For predator species with their unique lung structures, it was perfect murder. She started working. Hour 6, Nadia's hands started shaking. The virus was affecting her motor control. She spilled a sample, had to recollect it. Keep moving. Keep thinking. Hour 12, she coughed blood for the first time. The pathogen was in her lungs now, tearing through tissue. She took stimulants to stay alert. Had to stay conscious. Had to keep working. A small Drakai cub, maybe 6 years old, crawled into the lab. Are you the human who came to save us? I'm trying, sweetheart. What's your name? Lyra. The cub's breathing was wet, struggling. The teachers said nobody could help. That we were going to die. Not if I can help it. Nadia's vision blurred. She blinked it clear. Lyra, I need you to be brave for me. Can you gather the other cubs who can still walk? Bring them here. 30 cubs made it to the lab. The rest were too sick to move. Nadia showed them her work. The pathogen attacks your respiratory cells. But I found something. There's a compound in human blood that inhibits the virus. Not enough to cure me, but enough to slow it down. If I can synthesize a version compatible with your biology. She worked through the night. The cubs watched, their eyes dulling as the infection progressed. Nadia's own symptoms were accelerating. Fever, seizures, bleeding from her eyes. But her hands kept moving, mixing compounds, testing reactions, failing, trying again. Hour 18, she had it. A treatment that bonded human antibodies with predator-compatible proteins. It wouldn't cure the infection completely, but it would stop the hemorrhaging. Give their bodies time to fight back. Testing it would take hours she didn't have. But the cubs were dying now. Nadia made a choice. She synthesized enough for all 200 cubs and started administering doses. This might not work, she told them honestly. Her speech was slurred now, the virus affecting her brain. But it's the best chance you have. She moved through the school, injecting cubs one by one. The sickest ones first. By hour 20, she could barely walk. Her legs wouldn't coordinate. She crawled to the last few cubs, dragging the treatment case behind her. Hour 22, Nadia collapsed in the main hall. 200 children had been dosed. Now all she could do was wait. The cubs gathered around her. Those who could still move brought water, tried to make her comfortable. Lyra sat beside her head, making soft, comforting sounds. "You're dying," the small Drakai whispered. "You're dying and you came anyway." "Had to," Nadia managed. "Couldn't let you die alone. Couldn't let you die thinking nobody cared." "The treatment? Will it work?" "Don't know. Hope so." Hour 24 arrived. The military deadline. Through the windows, Nadia saw the perimeter forces moving into position. They'd give it another hour maybe, then sterilize everything. Then Lyra coughed. Once, twice. Clear lungs. No blood. Around the hall, other cubs were breathing easier. The hemorrhaging was stopping. Their carapaces were still cracked, they were still weak, but they weren't dying anymore. The treatment was working. Nadia tried to reach for her communicator. Couldn't. Her arms wouldn't respond anymore. The virus had progressed too far. She'd used all her remaining strength moving through the school, dosing cubs. Lyra saw what she was trying to do. The small Drakai grabbed the communicator and pressed it into Nadia's hand. "Command," Nadia whispered into the calm treatment. "Working. Cubs. Stable. Don't sterilize." "Dr. Torrance? We're reading improved vital signs. Confirm treatment success. Confirm. They'll live. Need medical support. Send teams." "What about you?" Nadia looked at the 200 cubs surrounding her. They were alive, breathing, looking at her with gratitude and awe. "I'm done. Virus 2 advanced. But they're safe. That's enough." The military commander's voice was rough. "Dr. Torrance, you went into a hot zone knowing you'd die. You synthesized a treatment from scratch in 24 hours while the virus was killing you. Those cubs are alive because someone had to try." Nadia's vision was darkening. Tell their parents, they were brave. So brave." Lyra pressed against her side. Other cubs surrounded her, creating a protective circle. "We won't let you die alone," the Drakai cub promised. "You didn't let us die alone." Medical teams breached the quarantine in hazmat suits an hour later. They found Nadia unconscious, surrounded by 200 cubs who refused to move away from her. The cubs were sick but recovering. The human was dying. They extracted Nadia to intensive care. For 6 days, she hovered between life and death while the virus consumed her from inside. The doctors couldn't save her. The infection was too advanced, too aggressive. On the 7th day, something changed. Her body started fighting back, using the same modified antibodies she'd created for the cubs. It shouldn't have worked. She'd designed it for predator biology. But somehow her dying cells had adapted it, turned it into something that could save her. Nadia woke up 2 weeks after entering the school. Every muscle hurt. She'd lost 20 pounds. Her lungs were scarred, but she was alive. The first visitors were Lyra and 30 other cubs who'd recovered enough to travel. They crowded into her hospital room, chittering and clicking with joy. "You saved us," Lyra said. "All of us. 200 cubs alive because you wouldn't give up." "You saved me too," Nadia replied, her voice still weak. "Surrounded me, kept me breathing, gave me your strength when mine was gone." The Drakai cub crawled onto the bed carefully. "The doctors said you knew you were dying, that you came anyway. Why?" Nadia looked at the cubs. 30 faces representing 200 lives. 200 children who'd been abandoned to die until one human decided that wasn't acceptable. "Because you deserved someone who wouldn't give up on you. Because you were scared and alone and dying, and I couldn't let that stand." She touched Lyra's head gently. "Because some things are worth dying for. And children, all children, are worth everything." Lyra pressed close, making the soft sound Drakai young made when feeling safe. Around the room, other cubs echoed it, a chorus of trust and gratitude. Nadia closed her eyes and smiled. Her body was broken. The virus had taken pieces of her that would never fully heal. But 200 cubs were alive. 200 children breathing, growing, living. And that made every moment of suffering worth it.